grabbed a green machine at a grocery store, and I thought, oh, it's green, therefore it's healthy. I'm trying to be healthy right now, so I'm therefore going to drink this green thing. And when I talked to this coach, she said, why didn't you just have a soda? Lightning rods, firecrackers, fireworks going off in my little brain. That moment completely rewired my thought about things.
Because sometimes the smallest mindset shift changes your entire life.
So today I want to talk about mindset shifts, and I want to make this a regular weekly thing, a weekly topic for me, because I started on this a couple of weeks ago, and the first couple of ones that came to mind was juice is healthy, green labels, the supplement industry, saying sorry, smiling, saying thank you, busy versus productive, and clarity. That's just my list of random things that came into my brain when I thought of this topic, and trying to recall in the past what things have created a mind shift in my life that I still use to this day and are still useful. And really the first one that came to mind was when I grabbed a green machine at a grocery store as I was passing by. And subconsciously, I thought, oh, it's green, therefore it's healthy. I'm trying to be healthy right now, so I'm therefore going to drink this green thing and show to my diet coach that I'm doing a good job and being healthy. And when I talked to this coach, she said, why didn't you just have a soda? And that just, I remember all sorts of lightning rods and firecrackers and fireworks going off in my little brain. It just completely rewired my brain in that moment. And I thought about things differently after that. And of course, I continued to build on it. It didn't stop there. It wasn't just a single moment, but I felt like that was a really crucial building block in me understanding just how much head work I had to do and how incorrect my thinking around food was and how much I had to work on it. Then probably the first one that I remember is that the teacher goes to the grocery store too. The teacher doesn't live at the classroom, so I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do remember the feeling of going, and I know I was in a grocery store, I was at a grocery store, and I saw my kindergarten teacher or something like that in the grocery store as I was in the grocery store with my parents when I was like 5 or 6. And my little brain, again, all these fireworks went off going, wow, they're a real person. They don't live at school. They have to go to the grocery store and feed their family. They have kids. And just this moment of the world being bigger than I had realized happened in my little brain. So those are the sorts of things that I want to talk about. Of course, I want to dive into more business and productivity related mind shifts. And the one that I spoke about in my last video, which was not exactly this topic, it actually wasn't this topic at all. But in case you didn't watch that, and this is the only area that I talk about that you're interested in, which is totally fine with me, and I would completely understand if you're not interested in insurance and employee benefits. What a shocker. I had talked about smiling more and the times that I had decided to smile more. One of them was in sales training. That's one of the things that my coach, or one of the many coaches that I had in sales, brought forward, is focusing on principles, focusing on basic things that you can do as a person to be more influential, to be more successful in sales, to be more charismatic, to have people like you more, know, like, and trust you, right? Because people buy things from other people that they know, like, and trust. So how do you become more like that person, your authentic self, not trying to be someone that you're not? But when I started out in being a professional, trying to do a big girl job, of course, I came to it with morality in mind and wanting to be a good person and sell good products. I had that box checked. I worked for a great company. We did a great job. Our heads were in the right spot. We worked our ass off for our clients and we were growing. And I was really excited to share this with other business owners out there so that they too could take advantage of this, or perhaps maybe they are in a good spot and they should stay where they are. But if they're not, that I just know how much pain people can be in when they have a bad broker. It can be a nightmare. So I said, great, let me find those people that have a pain point and I'll have a solution for them. So as I went through my sales training, of course, they talk about smiling more and smile and nod and this and that. And I remember a part of me telling myself that I hate people. I don't like people. People aren't good. People are this, people are that. And I hear that come up still to this day. I dealt with this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago or a month ago. And I just like, people suck. And I think you see this. I think there's like bumper stickers that say people suck. And I go, that's not helpful. That's not going to help me achieve my goals, thinking that everybody sucks. Well, it's certainly not true. I know it feels like that, and I may want to indulge in that emotion in the moment, but that's not reality. So I nip that in the bud. And why don't I choose to believe that I love people? And I do. There is a piece of me, I call myself a Labrador Retriever. I like people. I'm relatively friendly. And that is why when my spidey senses go up, when I get a feeling, when I get an inkling, when I don't get along with someone or somebody makes me mad or this other thing, I really pay attention to it, because my basic nature is to be pretty easygoing and easy to get along with and sociable and fun loving and a good time, right? I really like that side of me. And because I think I'm funny, I think I'm fun to be around. I am around myself all the time and I entertain myself all the time. So as I was thinking about this, I said, Melissa, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that hates people and walks around saying people suck? Or do I want to be the person that's the Labrador Retriever? Which one am I going to lean into in these moments? And I decided I'm going to lean into the Labrador Retriever. And this is a conversation that I noticed comes up with I have it with myself from time to time when I'm going through something that I originally perceive as being caused by someone else. Of course, we all have parts in it, but I go through this portion where it's like a pity party and I want to feel sorry for myself. And yes, I do indulge in that from time to time and let myself kind of, my toddler version of myself, kick and scream and stomp and cry and get it out, and then find ways to think about it and make it productive and move on. So one of the things that I choose to believe is that I love people and I do things for other people because I do love other people. Multitasking versus focus work. I have gone back and forth on this through different periods of my life. There have been times where I absolutely have to multitask. And I do agree that there are many times in our lives where we do have to multitask and we just have to suck it up and just action, go, to-do list, crunch through it. But as we come out of that season, slowing it down and saying, okay, I have been doing this for 3 months in this frantic state. And I have become more efficient at it because we do something every day for 40 hours a week. We are going to get good at it. That is also one of my beliefs. And if we've been doing this frantic multitasking behavior for 90 days straight, every single day, we probably have gotten pretty efficient at some of those systems. Now it's time to look at our workflow. When I say systems, I really just mean workflow, ability to go through and a sequence of steps in a faster manner than maybe the first time you did it. So we've become more efficient at the doing. And now it's time to look at the doing and say, okay, what can be taken out? What can be delegated? This I need to be focusing on more because it would cost so much money to outsource it. And this other thing I can't outsource, or why am I not outsourcing it? There's a fear there. There's always a reason why I'm not doing the delegating that I need to be doing. I'm being a control freak. I have some sort of fear around letting go of this thing, and I need to walk through that. So I do believe that focus work is where the rubber meets the road, where the meat and potatoes are, where the juice is, where we live up to our higher self and our higher potential and our higher abilities is in our focus work. So I want to do more of that, right? I want to do more of that. So smiling, and then I also had heard feedback over the years from high school and from other friends saying that I had resting bitch face. Well, you're kind of intimidating. Well, you're kind of this way. And this was before I had, any kind of, I always had a kind of an athletic physique, I guess. I probably had more defined arms than maybe my friends, but it wasn't anything crazy, like now, where I've got this vein poking out and winking at everybody all the time and scares small children. No, just kidding. No, actually, most of the time, small children love it. The kids love it. They think I'm some sort of a superhero, or I get stopped in the grocery store and people telling me how cool it is. So it actually is pretty reinforcing. But anyway, so I was told over the years that I had resting bitch face. So I thought, wow, I've heard this feedback before. Maybe what would happen if I just walked around and smiled at everybody? And I've also had the conversation with myself that when I am in a situation and I get out of a grocery store or something, I go, wow, everybody's grumpy today. And I go, well, maybe were you smiling at everyone or were you scouring? And I also noticed in the gym, if I'm walking around the gym and I have my headphones in, you get hardly any interaction. Even if somebody does try to interact with you, you can't hear them, right? So you're more likely to be looking at your phone or not engage with eye contact or a smile with people. If I've noticed for me, if I have my headphones in, I don't. So now one of my rules is when I go into a grocery store or I go into the gym, as I walk in and out, and especially in a parking lot, because it's also a safety issue. If you're walking around with your headphones on and there's a mugger in a parking lot, you want to be like looking around. You want situational awareness in some situations. So take the headphones out and look at people, make eye contact. That's been one of my goals. And I believe I've increasingly gotten better at this. And I have confronted myself several times throughout my life saying, is it you? Are you smiling? Is everybody an asshole? Or are you just putting off asshole vibes? Am I not smiling, or being friendly? And then, of course, I go way overboard. And then I think I scare people going overboard. But that almost is fun. That's more fun than anything else. Being selfish. So this is the big one from this week that I have been thinking about. Being selfish isn't what I thought, and it's not always bad. So when I was younger, I had this association in my mind that certain things were selfish, and if I did them, then I was being selfish, and being selfish is bad. Therefore, I should not do those things. And can we be selfish and can it be bad? Yes. I'm not saying that when people are selfish that it's always good. I am just saying there are situations where we need to be selfish. I think most of you who are mature and emotionally mature and have relationships, long-lasting relationships in your life, you will understand what I'm saying. But of course, there will be those that are obtuse and try to ignore all of my caveats. So I don't even know why I say them anyway. So being selfish isn't always what I thought, and it's not always bad. There are times where it is good to be selfish because if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else. And I think everybody understands the whole burning building thing, right? If you yourself are on fire and need help, you can't help someone. But if you are outside of the burning building, someone's inside, you can go in and get them as long as it's safe and you also don't catch on fire. Because now the fireman has to save two people rather than just one, right? Because you became another problem rather than adding to the solution. So there's those sorts of things where sometimes it's better for everybody just to take care of themselves, and then the relationship or the situation gets better. And then there's other times where we can give to others and it is better for everybody else too. And it's this interesting dynamic between codependency and relationships. So there's this term, if you've ever been to CODA or Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous or any of these 12-step programs that I had grown up in, basically as a kid, I was in and out of these programs, is that codependency tends to be defined when a person has a portion or the majority or all of their identity tied up into another person. when we're in a relationship, everybody's going to be codependent on each other in some way, shape, or form. And codependency meaning that I am dependent on you to take out like with my husband. He does the backyard, he cleans all this stuff, he fixes the roof when it leaks, he fixes things when they're broken around the house, and I take care of the kids. We have these certain things where I depend on him to do that, and I'll do this other thing. But that's not what I'm talking about. Codependency is when you tie up your identity into another person. So with that, I am going to continue this another time. Thank you for hanging out until the end, and we'll see you next time.